following is a paid program. Views expressed on this program are not necessarily those of CBS Radio, its sponsors, or affiliates.
Good morning. Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. I'm your host, Harvey Freed. Alongside of me, Alex Nafusi.
Morning, work family. How are you guys?
Really good, Alex. Look who we bring in, our favorite StephanieJaniga from Keller Williams, Northville area.
Who I just called Rebecca by mistake.
Oh, that's nice. Hey, Steph, thanks for joining us.
Glad to be back. Thank you for having me.
All right. We always like to have professional real estate agents in. Of course, Stephanie's got her own JanigaGroup. Real estate team out there in Keller Williams. You guys are always fun to deal with. So it's we have about a 2-year relationship, and I do not get all of your business. Although I will be begging you for outside of this meeting
what?
here.
He doesn't?
I'm trying.
Really?
Hey, sometimes people are approved elsewhere. Doesn't always work out that way. But we're going to be talking about all of that: purchasing a house, getting your house listed on the marketplace. Believe it or not, it's going to be 80 degrees today. It's still home buying season, wouldn't you say?
Oh, it's rocking right now. When it should. Typically, it's kind of dead throughout like September and October, and we're finding that it's still very, very busy. Homes are selling fast still.
Yeah,
I actually just got hammered like this week with new purchase agreements.
Oh, great!
I think a lot of people
I feel like there's a spike right now. It's picked up. It was a little dead in the summer for a hot minute, and now it's really picked up again.
It's been rocking and rolling. It's been very, very competitive.
Yeah, potentially maybe all those buyers that were fighting over the houses in June, July, and August said, wait a minute here. I'm just going to wait for the kids to go back to school. Then let's go out there and see what's in the marketplace and make some offers. And I think the sellers are more willing to accept some offers and move on with their plans.
Yeah, they're a little bit more reasonable now. You know, when we come off of that like hot spring market, everybody is wanting like top dollar, and now they're a little more realistic. And yeah, the houses are moving.
All right, we got so much to share with you today. Of course, buying a house is a lot of fun. There's a lot of families out there that might be retiring. That could be a reason to maybe get your house on the marketplace, to downsize, to really set yourself up for retirement. So we're definitely going to be talking about listing your home with a professional team and what they bring to the table. So tons of stuff to share with you. Give us your calls, 248-539-9797 here at the studio. And, of course, we are brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding at 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. You can always find people in the office all weekend long to get that approval letter, 1-800-569-7283. I really can't believe it's going to be 80 degrees later. And, of course, would you believe there's some football game this afternoon?
Tomorrow, dude.
So another gorgeous weekend here. So, again, we always brag about what a great area we have here. But college football's in the air, of course. All you folks listening in here, we're going to have a jam-packed day of sports after the show, starting at 10 o'clock there. I got Pat Caputo coming in and a whole bunch of other things all day long here, scheduled on 97.1 The Ticket. Hey, but definitely, Steph, we started to talk about it out in the hallway, is getting your house listed. Let's just start with that one, is getting your house listed with a professional team this time of the year. What are some of the things that, when you go to present, you know, why they should work with you versus somebody else? Give me a couple of the things that you bring to the table that others might.
Well, I got to say one of the big things is you're working with a professional. This is what we do every single day for a living. So we know how the process works, and we know how to negotiate. So, you know, typically we are working with realtor to realtor, and that's where it's the smoothest. Mm-hmm. You know, we negotiate for a living, and if you don't do this every day, you don't necessarily know how to go back and forth, you know, in that transaction so that you end up with the best deal possible.
We spoke about it all summer long, was possibly people overbidding each other, putting in an escalation clause. That's not, small talk. That's some really serious stuff. It's a contract, and you're putting in language in the contract.
A lot of realtors don't even know what that means. Like I made the joke a couple weeks ago. Like every single soccer mom I know is selling houses now.
Right now they are.
Yeah. Five deals a year, and that's not a good thing. You don't want that person representing you.
Well, you need a team. I mean, I'm okay with the new people getting involved in the business. We spoke about that all year. We saw about 2,000 to 3,000 brand new agents across Southeast Michigan, and escalation clause. There's a lot to know about purchasing a house and working with buyers and sellers in today's market.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, the escalation clause or like appraisal guarantees, there's a lot of little things that we can put in there to protect you that you may not know about or that a new real estate agent may not know.
Guys,
so going with an experienced team.
Go into the escalation clause. Explain that.
Okay. You want to go ahead?
Yeah, so an escalation clause, right now, you know, the market is still moving quickly, so it's typical to get into a situation where there's multiple offers. And when there's multiple offers, you have to put your best foot forward. Like, there's no playing around. So an escalation clause is, let's just say I'm going to go in, at $200,000, But I know that there's other offers on the table, and I don't know where those other buyers are coming in at. So I might say, all right, I'm going to offer you $200,000, and you know what? I'll go $2,000 above any other offer up to $215,000.
Okay.
So that way you're protected. Where if that other offer came in at $198,000, great, you get it for $200,000.
How do you believe that though?
You can ask for a copy
if
of
you're
it.
a sketchy agent, I mean, you could totally manipulate that.
Sure.
I don't think you run into that, do you?
No, I honestly I really don't.
We're just having radio, just
Throwing it out there.
just throwing it out there.
Well, I mean, that's the fear in the back of everybody's mind. But I mean, I work with these agents every single day. We do, hold ourselves to, a certain standard. We've got a code of ethics. So sure, in any industry, could there be somebody like shady out there? Yes, but the majority, no, they're pretty straightforward. And in that situation, I'm going to ask for a copy of the other purchase agreement, if they're saying that there is a higher offer.
Right. And at this point, you've had buyers that you might have been working with. They might have already been on their third or fourth offer. Oh. You might have been in the car now for 60 days or more, driving around at every opportunity out there, every listing. And after you've got outbid on 3 or 4 homes, you're willing to maybe pay a little $5,000 to $10,000 or $15,000 more. And again, are you prepared financially? Does your mortgage approval, is it have all that in place? Do you have a little bit of extra money to work with in case the house doesn't appraise?
Well, it's quality of life too, man.
Yes.
Are you willing to pay a little bit more? And all these things come into play on a purchase.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, one thing, we were talking about the negotiations. This process is very emotional. I mean, it's emotional when you're selling your house and you've lived there for 20 years, you've raised your family there. And it's emotional on the other end when you're buying the property too. So it's good to, one, work with a realtor so that you can kind of get somebody to essentially help you get out of your own way when things get a little tough. And like with negotiations, it's an art, it's a craft, it's like a dance between the two people. So I encourage you to be patient through that and not get too excited or too emotional, going back and forth. I can't believe this guy offered me this much. I'm going to tell him to, fly a kite kind of thing.
We shouldn't be offended by it. I mean, that people get offended by, lowball offers, which, I mean, I think are a waste of time anyway, but you really got to take the emotion out of it.
Well, I had an inspection issue the other day on a property, and we were just going back and forth negotiating, and we went back with a counteroffer that was, to me, very fair.
What was the purchase price?
$320.
And what was the counter?
We were past the offer being accepted. We went through
the inspection was funky. A couple things came up. All right.
So a couple things on the inspection, and we went back with a very reasonable counteroffer. And I'm trying to get a hold of the other agent. I'm like, what's going on here? Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, they were offended. And I'm like, what?
Is that
tell me what they need.
Yeah.
And he goes, I don't know, Steph. He's like, it was a solid offer to me. I thought it was, you wrote it great.
This is a great conversation, really get into it. After 26 years, I still hear that same stuff. They were offended by it. There's no offense to it. There's obviously a professional home inspection person who went to the home and found some deficiencies. Everyone's home. I mean, we have 4 seasons out here. It's raining today. There's going to be some wind damage eventually. Homes do have some wear and tear on them, some marks on them. And give me an idea. Just talk about some of the things that popped up.
Well, you shouldn't be offended. You should just, I mean, you don't have to
roll with the punch.
Just deal with it. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
Well, yeah, for instance,
what comes up? Yeah.
They had some concerns about the septic system. They ran some water. They weren't seeing some water come out, through the ground during their inspection. And I said, no problem. We'll go ahead and have it professionally inspected. And in fact, this is what blows my mind, too. I said, in fact, the buyer can go ahead and choose the company that we use just so they feel completely comfortable.
Right.
So I was blown away that I didn't understand how they felt, offended in that situation. But if they were to just kind of keep their emotions in check for a minute and come back with a different counteroffer, we probably would have fully accepted it.
Steph, this comes up quite a bit. 248-539-9797. You got to join the show. This is buying and selling real estate here in Southeast Michigan, really across the United States. The information we're going to provide today is some really in-depth stuff. This is what goes on in an everyday transaction. 248-539-9797. We'd love to hear from you, Steph. I love where we're going with this topic today. So is it fair to say that if you're a listing agent, I know you want the listing. You want your name on that contract. When it sells, you're going to obviously do the best job you can for these sellers. But also, isn't part of that job telling these sellers, look, you have a well and septic. Why not get the house, go ahead and inspect it ahead of time? Why not be able to present the sellers? Because septic systems are funky. And people don't always have them pumped out, don't maintain them properly.
Gross.
And
We're going to go with this.
I know, I don't want to talk about it. But again, we're talking about a water.
9 o'clock Saturday morning, talking about pumping.
You've got expensive issues.
Let's talk about other things. Let's talk about other things. could be the sewer system. It could be well and septic. It could be electrical. It could be heating and cooling. Is that a little sexy, or heating and cooling?
Or basement leaking. I mean, we're in Michigan. Like, you've got a hole in the ground. If it hasn't leaked yet, it probably will leak at some point. So yeah, there's different inspections. There's different companies that we can have come out to take a look at what needs to be fixed. And we work our way through that.
Yeah, you can do these things ahead of time, and definitely go ahead and be able to present your house in the best possible fashion by saying, hey, not only do I have my house
listed, septic.
Here, not only have I taken care of it, but it also shows someone, a potential buyer, that this house is very well kept.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
All right. So when we come back, you know what? I think we're going to go to a quick break here. All right, let's do it. When we come back, we're going to be getting all your calls, 248-539-9797. Keep it here.
97.1 The Ticket. CBS Sunday. When it comes to crime solving, A Million Minds.
Hi, Harry Glantz and Dan Burke for Capital Mortgage Funding. We do loans everywhere. In Southfield, in Birmingham, in Royal Oak, in Grosse Ile, in Detroit, in Canton, in Northville. No matter where you live, we want to do your mortgage too. That's Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
Segment 3, bro.
Segment 3, is it?
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, well, 3, because we had the first one, and that one we just concluded. Now we're going in the third one.
September 23rd, if you're just waking up.
How am I doing? Hey, the guys behind the glass are just cracking up.
I feel like it's, mid-June or July here, but absolutely a gorgeous day outside. Get out there and enjoy the great weather here we have in Michigan.
Can we discuss Kid Rock real quick?
No. We can, and I want to congratulations for surviving the week, and a great job by Kid Rock and his band, man. They tore it up down there.
That guy, if he leaves nothing on the table, man, that guy goes full throttle. Anybody didn't go see that the arena or that show, you're missing out, man.
Yeah,
I'm going to a hockey game in a few weeks.
That'd be cool. On the 5th? Is that the first one?
Maybe, I don't know. Is it the 9th?
The first one?
October 9th?
Have you seen that arena yet?
I have.
Dude, that's awesome.
That is awesome.
Oh,
salute to the Village family again out there. Hey, let's move on to Tim out there at St. Clair Shores. Tim, welcome to our show. You got a question or something going on with a real estate agent? Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm just, thanks for taking my call, first of all, but I'm working with somebody, and I guess the main question is it unusual to look at other houses when you are, when you've made an offer on one house? So you've got an offer sheet in.
Oh, you're a cheater.
What's that?
You're cheating.
I want to hear what James has to say.
He's being sarcastic. Sit tight.
Good. So you're looking at other houses after you have an offer in?
Well, Tim, you got an offer accepted. You're moving forward with this house, correct? Are you doing an inspection and that kind of stuff?
Right. And so, but the thing is, with the house as the offer, I'm going FHA.
Okay.
And the seller is able to keep the house on the market until that inspection is complete.
So the inspection or the appraisal's complete?
Both of them.
Okay, so that's odd. I don't get that. So who's going to spend the money? And then I'm going to let James answer. Who's going to spend the money on? If you're buying the house and you have an offer accepted, you're going to spend money on an inspection. Let's call it $350, and an appraisal $500. And then what if they say we're not taking your offer? Or how are they going to take other offers while you're moving forward?
I don't know.
All righty, welcome back to the show, 9:17 if you're just joining us. Today is Football Saturday. I want to hand it out to all the winners last night in high school football around the area. Quick little shout out to Bloomfield Hills beat the Southfield team somehow. Of course, my buddy John's kid's on the team, so I got to throw that one out there. But congratulations to all of you hard-working high school football athletes out there.
Oh, that's right. It's not. It's Bloomfield Hills. It's not Lasser and Andover.
That's right.
I'm a Lasser grad. No,
you're the Bloomfield Hills team. You got a W last night. You're 4-2, by the way, so you're doing good.
I'll
chance at the playoffs. Hey, we talked about it actually last week, how just a sense of community and home ownership, it all comes together here in Southeast Michigan. And now we have the college football spirit going on today, of course, with the Michigan State rivalry. So it's really a great feel around town. And, of course, 80 degrees plus today. What a great place to be. Hey, let's move off to some phone calls here. We'd like to hear from you also at 248-539-9797. Hey, Mike from Allen Park. Good morning. Welcome to our show.
Good morning. How everybody doing today?
Good. How are you, sir?
Good. Hey, listen, I was just talking about a sale I had about 6 months ago. What I did is I had an agreement. I had an individual place that it's selling to another individual, and I said, I'll have my lawyers write it up, clean deal. I thought you don't have to, bring a realtor, and then whoever you need to read the paperwork, let them do it. And we had a price. So the lady goes and gets in front of her as a realtor, and the realtor calls me and says to me, well, she's going to pay me 3%, and for doing the deal, I want you to pay me 3%. Now, I already have to pay my attorney, which that's okay. But I told her, why would I pay you 3% if you didn't bring the customer to me or you didn't do anything? You just want to do the paperwork. Is that being unfair? Anyway, because I wouldn't pay the 3%, she taught the person not to buy the place. And now that place has went up in price higher than what you would have paid for it. So tell me if I was wrong, or everybody. If you need a realtor, I understand.
Stephanie's going to have one answer. I'm going to have the other. I don't think you're wrong. No,
I don't think it's wrong. I want to save money just like everybody else, so I get it. And if you can strike up a deal on your own and get it to closing, and without paying a commission, I think that's awesome.
Go ahead.
So you said the realtor was going to get paid by the buyer, anyways.
She was going to get paid 3%, but the realtor says, because I'm going to do the paperwork, I want you to pay 3%.
Hey, let me ask you this too. I was going to say this to Mike. Hey, Mike, if that came by me, I was just going to say something. And again, Steph, we just talked about for sale by owners in the hall, so we're going to get there today, definitely. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with you did, Mike. I'm surprised. I bet most buyers out there listening even today, I'm going to throw this out there. I think they have to pay a real estate agent to buy the house. I don't think that most people out there buying a house right now, if they've never done it before, I don't think they know how it works. And the fact of the matter, Steph, is we know that the seller pays the commission to both agents if the house is listed on the market. And go ahead with that.
Yeah, typically when you list your property, the seller pays the 6% commission, which is the norm. It's not, set in stone, but that's the norm. It gets split 50-50 between the two companies. And, that's pretty much what's expected. So, yeah, these buyers are out there right now, and no, they don't expect to have to pay that 3%. They're expecting that the seller is paying it.
So, Mike, let me ask you a question, partner. So, the realtor came in like the house is basically already sold, and she wanted 3% just to do the purchase agreement?
Exactly. And I thought, wait a minute, I got my attorney, and I didn't care. I told her, the funny thing is I brought the house down for this person, because they wanted it so bad. And I had a family member that wanted it. And I told them because my wife and house.
Let him go, Alex.
Hey, Mike's calling from
we'll answer that. We're going to let you go, Mike.
Radio.
Thanks for the call, though. Answer it. Go ahead, Alex.
Here's the thing. Mike, and I'm sorry, the call broke up there, buddy. I don't think that. I disagree with that. I don't think that the agent should be taking 3% for that.
I think that's kind of gouging.
Yeah, I do too.
Right there. I'm a little surprised because I think most realtors would be happy with the 3% and call it a day and be done with the deal.
For sure. In fact, most of the time, if you didn't have to show someone the house and you're brought into the transaction, I'm only talking about 26 years.
Easy deal.
Right. You should be able to, if you're going to represent someone, I've seen them at 1% and 2% all day long. Again, depends the purchase price of the house. If we're talking about $500,000 house, 1%'s 5, 2%'s 10. Maybe you can fill in the blanks for $5,000. And if the deal's already done, again, they didn't drive you around. They didn't negotiate the price. That's why.
Well, this is something I offer all the time to my clients. I have a deal going right now. I work with a lot of for sale by owners, And, they start the process off by showing the property themselves. And a lot of times they think, well, I'm talking to this guy or this guy, and they say they're interested, so I might have a buyer come back. And my response is, great. Well, keep talking with them, keep working that deal. In the meantime, let's go ahead and get the property listed. And if one of those guys comes back and they want to buy the house, fine, hands off. You can either handle it yourself, or if you want me to write up the deal and bring it to closing, go through inspection, appraisal, title, and all that, I'll do that for 1%.
Great. So you work out. Everything's negotiable.
It's negotiable. Yeah, you're fine. That seems fair.
So that's
Absolutely.
A cool deal.
Yeah.
I just had that where actually the buyer came back around and perfect. We swooped in, wrote the offer up for 1%. Seller's happy, we're happy, buyer's happy.
Yeah. We talked about it actually. I think it was last week's show. It might have been the Saturday before that. Where you can, if you already have some potential buyers or family members that are interested in your house, and they're hemming and hawing, they might not be able to even get a mortgage. You never know. If they're not qualified, they're not approved yet for the mortgage, and you're running out of time. You're running out of patience. Get the house on the market. Yes. Put their name on an exclusion list, so these people are excluded from you paying the commission. And again, if those people step in before another offer is accepted, your agent, in your case, you'd be willing to work with them,
100%.
maybe at a discount, maybe not. Maybe they need all of your help. Maybe they need a lot more help than we ever could imagine. And I'm telling you, we talk about Home Buying 101. I'm back to offering the class again. Anytime you call Capital Mortgage Funding and you deal with real professional mortgage bankers, we invite you into the office to sit down and go everything from the debt to income ratio, your credit scores, the funds that you're going to be needed at closing, and then everything A to Z. There's a difference between working with real mortgage professionals.
Absolutely, dude.
A night and day. And I won't even get into my story. I mean, this past week I had
one. You got to get into it now.
I get into a little bit. I had one purchase closing that took 45 minutes. I knew the title company. It was all done. Piece of cake. Everyone was smiling and laughing. I got calls from both agents after 45 minutes ago. It's all done, Harvey. Everyone was happy. The title company. Then another closing that was 3.5 hours.
I just had a 3-hour one.
Why? Why did it go 3.5 hours?
I can't go there.
Why didn't go through?
Mr. G's not here to defend me, so I won't. They were not organized. They were not organized.
The title company or no?
Potentially the title companies and the sellers, and maybe the seller showed an hour late to the closing. I mean, all sorts of craziness in a transaction.
How'd that go for you? How'd you handle that?
Well, I didn't handle it good the day before, but I can tell you this.
I can only imagine how this went down for you,
The next day, knowing it was a 3.5 hour closing, I spoke to the buyer. It was down in the city, and she said, "Hey, Harvey, it's probably going to be an hour." If she was like, "I had an appointment already. They changed the closing date. All this was craziness was going on." And she called me up and said, "Harvey, everything was perfect, but we just sat there for hours and hours. Like the seller didn't show up, but in any great transaction,
show up?
I don't know. They were late. They got lost. Something happens. There's always an excuse.
I don't know.
Out
how
there.
You're showing up to pick up a check.
You're showing up to sign and sell your house, right?
You're picking up money. How is that? How are you late for that?
Steph, before we went into the break, we were talking about selling the house, getting it on the marketplace, the listing. Shouldn't you go ahead and have a professional realtor come in? If your house is really in rough shape, you might even suggest, hey, why don't we do a home inspection on this to make sure that furnace that's got cobwebs and it doesn't look like anyone's touched in a while, sir, and you got water leaking from the hot water tank. These are things that you have to address ahead of time.
Have a professional out to your house. So even if you're thinking about listing, 3 months from now or 6 months from now, it pays to have somebody come out sooner than later. What we look at is different than what a homeowner looks at. So I go to people's houses all the time, and they're thinking like homeowners. They're not thinking like sellers. So a homeowner may think, oh, I need some extra insulation here. Well, that's not sexy. No, that doesn't catch my eye out there on a listing. Granite countertops, fresh paint.
Is that sexy?
So, yeah.
All right.
New hot water heater's not
you
sexy.
Said sexy. I had to bring it up.
Yeah. Taking a hot shower.
I mean, there's different things that buyers look for versus what a homeowner does to their house. So yes, if you have a real estate agent out to your house sooner than later, there's plenty of times I'm like, stop. I'm like, do not spend the money on that. It will not come back to you. You're not going to get the return on
like my
there.
Patio. You have no idea what
your stamped concrete. It's gorgeous. Hey, that music says we're up against a quick little break here. 248-539-9797. We'll be right back.
Hi, Harry Glantz and Danberg for Capital Mortgage Funding. We do loans everywhere. In Southfield, in Birmingham, in Royal Oak, in Grosse Ile, in Detroit, in Canton, in Northville. No matter where you live, we want to do your mortgage too. That's Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
Brought brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. This is the show that gets you into a house. That's right. Call Capital, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. You get that real approval letter, and we'll teach you everything A to Z. And again, if you need some credit help because you want to become a home buyer in the next spring or even this winter, give us a call.
I like that real approval letter.
A real approval letter.
Difference.
We'll get into that too, Dave. At least one of the things I want to talk about whenever I get you around is the MSHDA program. The state of Michigan does have down payment assistance. It's a straight transaction. They'll give you, is it up to $10,000, but $7,500 for sure?
No, they give you up to $7,500 for the purchase of a first home. So they obviously have some stipulations. It's got to have everybody that's going to be living in the home that's an adult has to co-apply and co-qualify. You have a minimum credit score of 640. And there are some income limitations because it's meant to have from low to moderate income families. But as people in the office know, I close quite a few of them.
Yeah.
Especially when people are renting. They're spending rent every month. It's hard sometimes for them to accumulate the down payment that they need.
Right.
And or any reserves or anything else. So this is a way for them to get into a home and make them a happy homeowner.
Lisa, with that being said, so if I came to you today and I said, hey, I met these qualifications, I have it, let's just say it's me and my, ex-wife, it's me and my wife or my girlfriend or whatever it is.
Right.
And we're going to live in the house together. So both of us have good
That's
credit.
an interesting
Thank you.
combination.
They all can't live there. But let's see. We all have 660
my
credit.
My wife, ex-wife, my girlfriend. That's what you said.
Lisa, we have 680
walk into a bar.
So what's the income limits are similar to like the USDA loans?
Actually, they're a little higher.
Oh, okay.
And so it also depends on the number of families in the city. So they can be as low as 64,600, but they can go up into the 80,000s. And it also depends on family members. If there's 5 people living in the house, it increases the income that they're allowed.
Oh, the amount. But then again, if you have 5 family members, 2 of them are stragglers and they might not have good enough credit, they can jam your transaction up?
They can.
Oh,
Everybody
boy.
has to co-apply and co-qualify.
Okay,
so all adults living in the household.
All right, that gets a little interesting. How long from the time that maybe they call us even today and say, hey, Lisa, I want to check out this program. I want to buy a house, I qualify, but I have no money to work with. How long from the time they actually talk to us, let's say today, to when you can put an agreement together and they know that money's going to be in place?
So you have to put 1% into the transaction for them. So if they're looking at a $100,000 house, it means they have to put at least $1,000 in.
Okay.
Obviously, depending on the property, they may have to put in a little more with down payment and everything else. It can
Every day, this is 97.1 The Ticket.
Brought to you by Troy Laser and Fab. MLB playoffs last night. The American League teams go up 2-0. Cleveland rallies from 8-3 deficit to beat the Yankees 9-8, and the Astros rout the Red Sox 8-2. Over in the National League, the openers, Cubs blanked the Nats 3-0, and the Dodgers beat Arizona 9-5. Michigan State tonight, 7:30 to kick off from the Big House in Ann Arbor. Hear it on AM 950, WWJ, also 104.3 FM. WOMC, John O'Korn at quarterback for the Wolverines, who are a 10-point favorite. Michigan State once beaten. That was against Notre Dame. Michigan unbeaten, coming off a bye. Wings at Ottawa tonight right here on 97.1 The Ticket. They'll drop the puck at 7. Pistons winners in exhibition basketball last night over Atlanta at the LCA, 109-87. At the Ticket Update Desk, I'm Jeff Lesson. For more, 9701theticket.com.
The baseball team that Detroiters love most. The Detroit Tigers live here. 97.1 The Ticket.
All righty, welcome back to the show. 9:31. on a wonderful Saturday out there. Michigan Saturday for sure, going up to 84 degrees potentially this afternoon. Rain not till about 9 o'clock tonight. That's right, bring your rain gear if you're going to be headed out to the big house for the game. No umbrellas allowed in the stadium, so definitely bring your poncho. What's
That's
that?
a bummer.
For real?
Wow.
Yeah, you can't bring that.
There's no space
block
for
everyone's
it.
view. What are you talking about? You know how that works. Everyone's jammed in there together.
I'm old. I don't go to games anymore.
You don't do that anymore?
I've done that, no. I'll be on my couch.
Mortgage stuff. Hollywood's really cool stuff out there. What was I going to say? Actually, I had some mortgage stuff written down here. A few things you should know about it. We value your time at Capital Mortgage Funding. That's one of the things I wanted to tell you. Definitely get a real approval letter. Sit down and get concise figures for your approval letter. Have a real plan. Again, your time is extremely valuable. Minimal time spent at Capital Mortgage. Maximize what your knowledge is on a transaction. Again, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. This morning here on the show, we brought in StephanieJaniga from Keller Williams. Steph, you got a great reputation. You got an awesome team. And again, working with true professionals, it's night and day. You know it as soon as we pick up the phone when we work with professional people all the time. And then we take that other call and they start asking about, hey, when's the appraisal going to be done and all that stuff? We pretty much know that it's going to be amateur hour for the next 30 days or so.
Yes.
And it's just part of the transactions out there. But let's go to our call out there because Zach's got a great question from Pinckney. Zach, welcome to our show. Go ahead, sir.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Morning, man. How are you, sir?
Doing well, doing well. So I inherited a house recently and was deciding, it's out in St. Clair Shores, about whether to rent or sell. I've been kind of going through that battle, just thinking about it. But there's a small leak in the basement. It was built in the 1940s, and I got two companies to come out for quotes, and both talked about doing a underground drainage system, a pretty intensive job.
It's like 10 grand, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
both
not cheap.
$8,000.
Okay.
So it took me back a little bit. I was hoping for $1,000 or $2,000, but now knowing that, I'm kind of leaning more towards selling the house, and whether I should get that fixed before, or I know if someone comes in inspection, they're going to want to kick off $15,000 right away, saying, okay, the basement's leaking.
Yeah.
But if it is worth to dump the money in.
Zach, here's the thing, partner, is that you have to sign a seller's disclosure, and so you have to disclose to any buyer that you know that there's water in the basement. How bad is the leak?
Very, very, very small. That's
Can't you just buy like some dry lock? Isn't it like that paint at Home Depot or Lowe's? And
sometimes it's as simple as fixing the grating outside and making sure that you've got gutters that are taking the water away from the foundation.
Exactly. I don't know that you need to do the whole
Well, he's had two professionals out there. Let's go with this idea. At the end of the day, Zach, how much do you? Yeah, he doesn't own that. He
just
got
professionals out there. They
want to make
dry
a sale.
basements. They want to say they want to get paid.
But they also want it fixed properly. Hey, Zach, you own the place free and clear, right?
Yeah, it's just about to get through, probate.
Yeah, but there's no lien.
House.
Okay, but your dad, and I'm sorry to hear that your dad passed, but he left you the house free and clear?
It has $100,000 left on it.
That's not free and clear.
It's valued worth like $150 to $160.
I mean, I think you'll get the 150, 160. Steph, are you thinking when I'm thinking that he does the repair along with, we were talking about earlier, why not get these things done?
You can do it two ways. So yes, you can go ahead and fix that ahead of time so that you don't have any hassles during the inspection. It's going to go the smoothest way. That's the smoothest way possible. Or here's the other thought option is I'm all about like listing properties and getting them to sell at the right time. I'm saying also get it on the market sooner than later. If anything before the snow hits. That is something that we negotiate into deals all the time. I mean, I sold a couple houses this summer. We had some really rainy spots
early in the year.
And I had wet basements, not just a trickle of water. I mean, like wet basements. And we negotiated it, right through the, in the contract. And but we ended up giving the buyer a credit for it. So kind of either way you go, yes, you kind of need to take care of it one way or another, whether you're going to pay for it up front or give a credit to the buyer. If they know it's leaking.
Would you have a recommendation for selling or renting it?
My question for you would be if you were to rent it, how long do you think you would hold on to it?
I mean, I don't technically need, the money one way or another. I'm not, itching for money that I have to sell it right away, where I think the renting, would be the better route to go. I just, hear some of the horror stories from renting.
Zach, how about this? If the rate on the mortgage is, I'm just throwing a number out there. Let's just say it's 4.5 on $100,000. That's $507 on a 30-year mortgage. taxes and insurance, the house isn't homesteaded anymore. Let's say the monthly payment, the responsibility on your end is about $700, maybe $800.
It's more than that, buddy.
All right, let's call it $800. What could you rent the place for? What would you be netting a month?
Yeah, they're talking about $1,500 is
that's not bad.
That's nice cash flow. You know,
I just need to refinance. So the rate on it is brutal. It's like 6.7% right now.
All right. Well, you know what? I got a feeling I may do some business with you. It sounds like maybe it's
I
first.
kind of like that rental idea.
Yeah, I like the rental idea now, especially
Zach,
if you're getting
I'm just
that
telling
much.
you right now, like I own a few duplexes. I'm just telling you, be ready to work, man. It's not you're not just.
I'm headed to the house right now. I'm about to pull up here in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, you're not just going to collect a check every month. There's always stuff you have to do.
Just
man.
to drive from Pinckney to St. Clair Shores at 696. Yeah, that's a good 45 minutes, right?
Yeah,
or an hour.
I'm trying to get done early so I can go watch my Spartans.
All right,
there you go, buddy. Yeah, Zach.
All right, Zach. Way to sneak that in. Good job, man.
So yeah, I'd be prepared.
Awesome. Thanks, Zach. See you, buddy.
Yeah, I'd be prepared for those repairs and actually being a landlord there. And I would do the rental route if you were planning on holding on to it for a while, like years to come. If you're going to end up selling it 2 years down the road, I'd get rid of it now.
There's just stuff that happens on rental properties because, I mean, not to say that anybody's like a bad renter, but there's just things that come up.
It's
just
not their property.
Exactly.
They don't take care of it the same way that you would as a homeowner.
You said it, not me, man.
Yep.
But
all right,
I love my renters right now. I have a really good crew of renters right now. But I mean, prior to these guys, the people that
you're lucky. You're a lucky one.
I had some bad ones, man.
Yeah, I mean, we're 2017 now. From 2000 to 2006, it was pretty easy to get a mortgage if you had a heartbeat. Now, of course, we've pulled back our reins a little bit here, and we know that you have to have the good credit, that you have to have funds to close. There's a whole path here, home ownership. Although it's quite easy. You can purchase a house with 3% down, conventional through the Freddie Mac Home Possible programs and the Home Path. USDA loans are graded 0 down. So it doesn't take a whole lot of money to become a homeowner. It doesn't take the best credit in the world. So again, if you're renting and you're in a rental situation, for what reason? Are you because you're not going to stay here for 2 or 3 years and you're thinking you're transient, you're going to move around a little bit? That's one thing. But if you're going to stay here, Steph, you got to buy.
Absolutely. And I would encourage you to, get with a lender, even if you don't think you're in that position to get a loan right now, because they can guide you in the right direction and tell you what you need to do to get yourself, set up that way.
Right. And a lot of things we can share with you, including a whole bunch of things to get your credit scores up. Again, having better credit, get you a better mortgage interest rate, get you a lower insurance cost, and really set your life up for the future. I mean, I don't know how you do it without credit cards. You need a couple. You don't need 20 of them, but you definitely need to have one or a handful of credit lines established over a lifetime, and then you'll be able to have some good credit. Let's move off to Paul and some questions. Paul, you're out there in Shelby Township. Good morning. What's going on?
Hey, fellas, young lady, how are you there?
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Hey, a quick story. Back in 2012, I bought my fourth home after I remarried out in Shelby Township. It was bank-owned. It was a foreclosure. And, guys, I went through 6 months of absolute hell as a qualified buyer.
Why? Is your credit bad?
No, my credit was fine. It was just, the bank and all the hoops of fire, and it was like one big apology for us. Sorry for the mess we created, but here's the deal. I'm just wondering, my question, what sort of safeguards have been put in place to ensure that a housing crisis like that never happens again, and to make it a little easier for qualified buyers to actually, buy a home that perhaps is bank-owned? I'll hang up and listen.
All right, good stuff. Thanks, Paul. First of all, I mean, it should never take 6 months to get a mortgage. I mean, unless there's more to that story that he's not telling us, then it should never take 6 months. No. I mean, you're running 30, 45 days tops on a transaction like that. And the reason it's taking 45 days sometimes is because the third-party vendors are taking a long time. Appraisals take longer.
Right. Or potentially something comes up in the transaction where the appraisal's a little off. There's some negotiation.
It's 6 months should never happen. But to answer Paul's question directly about the safeguards, about the housing crisis, the stated income programs are gone.
Yeah.
I mean, the 0 down. Just say tell us what you make.
No income, no assets, all that kind of stuff.
I mean, there really is. There's protection out there now. I mean,
Well,
it's
and there was
not
a
like
lot.
it was.
Let's face it, there was a lot of fraud during that time too. We had fraudulent appraisals, and straw buyers, and things that we don't have that anymore. Because you can't go choose your own appraisal.
Right. When we do an appraisal, it has to go through a third party, and it ends up being random. So you can't just have like your buddy Jimmy.
They're not doing
drive-by
appraisals. Now.
There are
They're
safeguards there. I still think the market's overvalued right now, but there's safeguards. You're not going to see 2008 again. I can tell you that.
All right, that's good news though for sure. 9:41. I'll tell you, we're up against a quick break. 248-539-9797. We'll be right back.
97.1 The Ticket.
Hi, Harry Glantz and Danberg for Capital Mortgage Funding. We do loans everywhere. In Southfield, in Birmingham, in Royal Oak, in Grosse Ile, in Detroit, in Canton, in Northville. No matter where you live, we want to do your mortgage too. That's Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
Welcome back to the show, 9:46. If you're just joining us, it's a great day out there. I'm Harvey Freed, Alex Nafusi, and Lisa Lawson from Capital Mortgage Funding.
I'm
Call
over
us
here,
in
too.
Yeah, we'll get you in there, Dave. Dave McClain from Keller Williams out at the Lakeside office.
That's my feeling.
We're not hurting your feelings, are we, Dave? You're a real estate agent. You guys have thick skin. You can do it. Well, anyways,
No,
Dave, you said you were going to come up with a really good story, but I'll tell you, there's nothing could be better is when I was at a closing yesterday and just everything goes smooth and it's exciting, but I mean, look outside, and this is some great weather. Cider mills, high school football, college football.
You were very excited about your story yesterday.
Yeah, I got home a bunch of things I want to throw out there. We have zoos here in Michigan. We have golf courses. Did I say we have a lot of lakes? There's a million and one reasons. And
I think we have zoos here in Michigan.
Yeah, we have zoos.
Like it's special to Michigan.
Well, but we do have
Only state with zoos.
Yeah, there's also a lot of zoos that you don't know about.
Sounds funny when you say it.
But a lot of positive things going on in Southeast Michigan. And again, I'm pro-Michigan guy. This is my where I was born and raised and everything. And I think there's 8 million reasons to come here. But the number one reason is there's employment also. And there's a lot of job opportunity here. And with job opportunity comes home appreciation. And why not find out how you can get that roof over your head? 248-539-9797. You definitely want to hear from you. We talked a little bit about a couple topics here. One of them is the new tax plan also. Although the new tax agenda out there from the government says that potentially they're going to take away the interest, not the interest deduction, but the property tax deduction. And again, they're lowering your taxes on one side, and then they're taking something away. So
taking away the deduction.
Yeah, it gets a little funky out there, but I can tell you this. The interest deduction is still strong. It would be even better if the National Association of Realtors gets some high-powered lobbyist in there to make sure that never becomes an issue for us. But I don't see that going away. And someone said that it doesn't really affect home ownership. I say it does.
It completely does.
100%, in my opinion, it does, yes.
Yeah, absolutely it does. Well, I mean, that's a huge benefit to buying a house.
Correct.
And so many families at the end of the year after they do their tax return, they get that check for $3,000 to $6,000, and that's the money they use for home improvements and keeping their house really nice and tidy. So there's a lot of reasons why home ownership is cool, and I think that's actually one of the stronger points is the tax deduction. Again, if you're renting, you're paying someone else's mortgage, so that's not going to help you. All right, Dave, you want to hit us with that great story?
Great story.
You're not going to hit us with it.
I thought you had the great story.
Yeah, you were telling me. Well, I mean, my good stories, all my stories
all your stories
are
are
good.
good.
Obviously.
Hey, Dave, how about this one instead?
No,
then?
but I think it's funny when I have a closing. Most of the time, this happens. Everybody that's in the office walking by the door, they like stop and look in because normally everybody's laughing, having a good time. It's the loudest thing happening in the building, and we just make it a good time. You're buying a house; it's a great day. Or you're selling your house; it's a great day because you're gonna go buy another one, or you're moving, whatever. So I just like to make it.
It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. Give us a call, Capital, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. You're going to save a lot of time. You're going to save a lot of money. Definitely give us a call here in the studio, 248-539-9797. Let's go off to Shane and Taylor this morning. Good morning, Shane. You've got a question. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was curious. I was trying to get a loan on a multifamily property in Detroit.
Yeah.
Going conventional, was looking for 10% down. Purchase price was $60,000.
No.
And told by a lender basically that need to have 25% down.
Yeah, one unit.
That's correct.
Investments with more than 2 units, two or more units require 25% down conventional loans. Now, if you were going to live in one of the units, then that's a different ballgame. You could even buy at FHA at 3.5% down.
Yeah, you could do an FHA 203K. In that case, you couldn't do it, though, not using it as your primary residence?
It's got to be your primary. It's got to be your primary, and they will check up on you. You don't want to do something illegal.
Yikes, yeah.
What's the time frame for something like that? So if you move into that property, what's the time frame before you can move out before it would be considered like fraudulent, that you like...
I don't, I can't go on the record with that and say it came up last week.
Thanks for the call, buddy. Yeah,
that's a good one.
It is 25% down, buddy, just so you know.
Okay, I appreciate it.
You got it. Thanks, dude.
Alex, do you know that answer? Is how long do you have to stay? At the end of the day, Steph, we know this. If you make the payments on time, no one knows.
I don't want to
that
take.
We know.
I don't want to take hate mail. I think it's 6 months. I think, but I'm not 100% sure. But they do. They definitely will check up on you.
They can check up on you.
100%, man. Then you don't want to.
Don't go to jail for
I know
fraud.
that's a big thing. You don't want to say it's your primary residence when you're actually making an investment property.
We just got a ticket text that says, please explain what a straw buyer is. So basically, a straw buyer is when you... I don't know how I want to go into this. So a straw buyer is when it's a fraudulent buyer. You get someone, you use their credit, their income to buy a house, and then you basically walk away.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. So you take the cash out. And it's a sketch. It's a fraudulent transaction.
Lots of screwy things that were happening back in the day that are not happening now.
Exactly. You really can't do it anymore. I mean, when you run someone's credit, there's like a rating on there of how sketchy that person is actually. You could have great credit and come back with a really shady, like fraudulent rating.
Interesting.
Okay. Steph, this came up recently too, as we were talking about renting and stuff. Don't wait to purchase a house. Although you have, doesn't really take that much money to own a house. Again, with all the different programs that are out there. So waiting to save for a down payment. Again, we talked about it earlier that some of the generations out there, again, we just don't do mortgages every day. That's why there's a lot of questions out there that we need to answer.
I've heard people like, well, we're going to wait another year and save up some more money for the down payment. Stop. Because you're going to lose more money with the interest rates going up. You're going to start saving money by actually like home ownership. But that extra couple $1,000s that you're going to put down on your mortgage it doesn't even make a dent.
It doesn't do anything, right?
You're saving like a whopping, maybe $10 a month or something.
To use, just some raw numbers out there with today's low interest rates on 30-year amortizations, $10,000 sort of equivalates to about $47 to $55, somewhere in there. So again, that's $10,000. So if you I saved another $10,000 to make the home more affordable. Well, your payment might have went down $50.
Right. Probably not enough to really impact the situation.
Right. And you mentioned, again, homes are appreciating it maybe at 2 to 3 or 4%, even around here. And again, we've seen even higher appreciation across the country. So waiting, what are you waiting for? You're waiting to miss out on an opportunity. You're waiting for higher rates. Again, if you can do it now, get in touch with the great mortgage professionals that are across Southeast Michigan. Yeah, I hope you call Capital Mortgage. You'll save a ton of money and find out what program might work for you, including last week we spoke about the MSHDA program that's still available for many people here. Michigan State Housing Development Authority offers a program where they'll give you $7,500. You got to qualify. It ends up being an FHA transaction, which is a great transaction, but they give you the money to go ahead and move forward and you use that money to purchase the house. So
yeah, I've been hearing more and more about a lot of like different credits that are out there and some really cool programs that are there. But something to keep in mind, like you were just saying a second ago, is you can always put more money down towards your principal.
Yeah.
So even if you didn't save up as big of a chunk as you thought you wanted to, great. When you get that money, throw some more down on your principal. Great, you're still taking it down.
Yeah.
Or if you end up with a 30-year mortgage, you can still structure your payments as if it's like a 15-year mortgage without being locked into it.
Mm-hmm. In case you have a little rainy day there, of course, you can revert back to the payment that might save you $200 or $300 a month. Also, lots of different things you can do with your mortgage, including recasting. We had this opportunity with so many families this summer, especially, I saw it where the question became, do I qualify to purchase a new house without selling my existing one? And then, Steph, so many families are running around saying, Harvey, I don't have to worry about selling my house. I got to find one that I really like. And that was the key.
I'm so glad you brought that up just now. It is very, very common right now to have offers coming in that are contingent on another property selling. I know in past years that was like a big I don't want to take a contingent offer. Now I encourage you to just be open-minded to it because, my gosh, probably at least 50 or 60% of the offers that, the transactions that we're working in right now, it's not just one single transaction. We're lining that up with the next deal right there. I have 2 right now that are literally like a domino effect of 4 properties that are all like kind of contingent on each other. And yes, it's sensitive, and you've got to make sure that you've got things, timed properly, which is why you should be with a good realtor who understands how to do that. But it's not an issue. We're getting these closed all day long, and it's kind of what you have to do right now in order to, yes, get out there and go find that property and
be flexible, right?
Yes.
Be flexible and understand. Hey, let's move off to Nolan out there in Dearborn. Good morning. Welcome to our show, Nolan. Go ahead.
Yeah, good morning. How are you?
Hey, Bug. Morning, sir.
Okay, I have a question. We just recently purchased a home in August, and we asked the homeowner more than once also to state whether the house is leaking or not, and she said no. And also on the contract, we had our real estate look at it, and he also said that there is nothing listed on there that said the house is leaking.
Hey, Nolan, tell me when you get to the good part of this conversation, when you hired the home inspector and he came out and gave you his professional opinion. Get to that good part. Tell me when did you hire the inspector?
We hired him back in August when we were going through the home.
Okay, and what did they say?
There's nothing. And then recently we just had heavy rain, and there was water in the basement came through.
How much water? Like a lot?
About a bucket.
So it's not. I mean, it's not terrible. No, and it goes back to a few callers ago. Sometimes you can fix that stuff with just by grading the outside of the property
or downspout
extensions. You can buy some dry lock, it's like a really thick paint you can pick up at it, like any hardware store. But your question specifically regarding saying there was no leak and now there's a leak, they sign a seller's disclosure. So they should have to disclose on there if there was a leak or not. Unfortunately, even if you try to take them back to court to have the the basement waterproofed, that's a really difficult case, man.
You don't have much to stand on there. And reality is, I have people that list their homes all the time, and then the basement leaks, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is the first time it's leaked ever. I can't believe it just now happened." It happens.
Might be a little sketchy, but it could happen. Hey, look, we live in Michigan here. From the other caller earlier today, again, this basement was leaking. He said it's about $8,000 to repair it. Again, doesn't sound like it's a 3,500 square foot home. Maybe more of 1,000 to 2,000 square foot home.
Hey, Nolan,
it's not outrageous.
Nolan, did you know where the leak is coming from, sir?
It's coming from an angle like it runs down the basement, like a.
But you can see it coming through the wall.
Wall to wall. I'm sorry.
You can see it coming through the wall. Like you can see the water trickling through.
Yeah, and then when you touch the wall, it's like it runs like along the whole wall.
Dude, there's this stuff. It's called dry lock. It's a really thick paint. Go to a Aco, Home Depot, Lowe's, any hardware store.
What are you giving? You're giving a home improvement advice here. You know what I want them to do? I want the professionals to come and fix it. I don't want to cover it up.
I would try to. Hold on. Tell me. I would try to paint it with the dry lock first. If that doesn't work, then you're gonna have to call a professional company to come out and waterproof the basement.
It could be a pipe. It could be a PVC pipe with a nail through it that finally over time started to leak. It could be your water line off your refrigerator. I mean, there's a million things, but let's go find out what the problem is and fix it. Right?
And roughly how much would that cost?
Well, you don't know what it's.
Well, the dry lock's $20. To waterproof your basement's going to be $10,000.
Well, and again, more importantly, we don't know what the problem is, Nolan. The key is this, that the good foundation companies around town, the waterproof companies, you can call people and you can get free inspections done. They can come and give you free quotes and estimates. And I suggest you probably get one or two of those and then move forward with the repair, right?
Yes. So nothing with the house owner, previous house.
You can try. There's probably a lot more to that.
Your time, man.
Yeah, I don't know if you got much to go on there. Again, you did have the house professionally inspected, and homes are sold as is.
Okay, thank you so much.
Awesome, thanks.
Good luck to you. Get the problem fixed. I know you're trying to fix the problem for less expensive.
I'm just, and in full disclosure, I'm the least handy person on the planet. Like I don't know if any
handyman tips from Alex.
I am the least handy person on the planet. I came home from golf the other day.
Yeah,
and Natalie was on the roof. And
she knows what she's doing. She's
in these short little jean shorts and a tank top and a tool belt. And I was strangely turned on. I don't even know.
It's not going to make you a bad guy.
I'm like, what are you doing, babe? She's like, I'm putting up pergola. I'm like,
that's awesome.
How's pergola? I don't know what that means.
You know what? Just a couple quick stories, Steph, because we're up against our end of our show here. Again, I was out at open houses the last couple of years, even in Royal Oak and some of the different surrounding areas. Ann Arbor, I've been in a whole bunch of open houses out there. And there were a group of families coming by and going, oh, they were shaking their heads, overpriced. Those homes today are worth $100,000 more than they were just 2 years ago in many areas across Southeast Michigan. Folks, our area is booming. Values are going up. find out how you could become a homeowner. And Stephanie, you have some last-minute tips or things that you want to go over, definitely throw them out there at us.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to, if anybody has any questions about buying or selling right now, I'd love to definitely talk with them. We've got a great team of agents that's working with the Janiga Group right now. I've got about 8 or 9 agents that, we're spanning different areas everywhere from Macomb, Oakland, Wayne County, Washtenaw, Livingston. So we've got people that are specializing in
Are you just naming counties?
No,
we work a 5-county area.
I just had to say it.
We work them. That's
I love you.
And I've got specialists in each end of it who know those areas. In fact, we're hiring right now. So if there's any realtors out there who are, thinking about making a shift or want to get into the business, give us a call. Our phone number is 888-98-HOMES, or you can check us out at JanigaGroup.com.
Okay, good. You could always call Capital Mortgage Funding. We'll get in touch with Stephanie and her great team out there. I know you've got some systems in place where families are able, or new real estate agents are able to come there. And really, it's a job. It's a real job, real estate. It's not like maybe the olden days. And again, if your reputation's out there and you've got a name and you've already branded yourself, well, you're doing pretty good. But there's a lot more out there involved in a transaction than just maybe throwing a stick in the ground like it was in the olden days. StephanieJaniga, definitely want to thank you for coming in. Always a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
Good work, bud.
All right. Always for Alex Nafusi. Always a lot of fun to have some Michigan State influence in here. Although I'm voting for the Go Blue side this time around.
Oh, because your nephew plays for him, right?
Cousins out there. And again, we're going to be voting for the Wolverines to hand it to you guys. No big deal. Oh, speaking of Aspiring, here's Pat Caputo coming up with sports.
PC.
Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. We'll see you next Saturday.
97.1 The Ticket.
Hi, Harry Glantz and Dan Burke for Capital Mortgage Funding. We do loans everywhere. In Southfield, in Birmingham, in Royal Oak, in Groseal, in Detroit, in Canton, in Northville. No matter where you live, we want to do your mortgage too. That's Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.